Hello, everyone. Happy Friday, and welcome to our energy of the day. Today, we are on the last day of August, and so I thought for today's video, what I would do is also pull a card for the energy of the month, the upcoming month for September. So, really looking at the energy or a message to support us through the month of September. And as always, so far anyway, I am going to use the Psychic Tarot Oracle deck for our reading, but I'm going to use the Divine Feminine Oracle to choose a card that will relate to the overall energy of the month. Now, one thing I do want to say before we begin, I received an email asking how I decide which cards to pull. So what they're talking about is the spread. So a lot of people who read cards, you'll often hear them talk about the spread of the cards. And the spread just outlines what each card will represent. So you can choose any type of spread, really. I mean, one thing I recommend is that people consider how they feel guided to pull cards and determine a spread. So if you're just learning to use oracle cards or just starting to play around with tarot or oracle, you can do a simple 3-card spread, which is quite common. So you can pull one card that reflects the energy of whatever the situation may be, the overall energy. Then you can pull a card to give some insight around what a potential challenge may be in whatever the situation is. And then the third card would be the energy of the potential outcome or what will support you in the outcome. Another common 3-card spread is looking at the energy of past, present, and future. So let's say that, oh, my chapstick. Let's say that you were wanting to pull some cards around the energy of work or relationship, and you're just having a hard time with moving forward or getting clarity around either of those areas. You could pull a card that reflects the energy, the past energy around that particular situation, pull a card for the current energy, and then again, another card that will help you have some clarity around the energy moving forward or what energy could support you in moving forward. So there are so many ways that we can read cards and come up with spreads, and there are some spreads that are more traditional that you can look up online. But yeah, so just wanted to answer that question for you. Now, with the energy of today, I have to tell you, I already feel like a chicken with my head cut off. I forgot to set my alarm clock. I was late to a Facebook Live event that I did this morning with the Jaya Collective. I almost forgot to turn off the alarm to my home when I was leaving this morning, but I'm finally here and excited to connect with you to talk about this month's upcoming energy. So going with the theme of what I just said, let's look at the energy of what may have been challenging overall with whatever area of life that you are focused on right now. Again, it could be career, it could be relationship, it could be anything. We all have our different points of focus. So as we are wrapping up August, an energy that would support us in our forward movement or speak to what was coming up this past month is the energy of transformation. So one of the things with this is everything is really transitional, and all of the situations that we go through have the potential to transform us. That is true if we are not in resistance to the changes that are occurring. And typically when we come to a space where we want to see change in our life, again, no matter the area, or we want to, just know how to move forward with things, part of that at the very foundational level is having the willingness to allow ourselves to transform, understanding that in order to allow things to change or to work towards our goals or whatever it is, our healing process, all of these things require the allowance of our transformation, which also means that there is a lot of change in that. And it can be uncomfortable. And sometimes, we grip so tightly to resist because we're afraid of the unknown. What will happen if I allow this to change? What will happen, or who will I even be? How will I identify and function through whatever is changing? So, one of the things that's coming up around this too is the number 13, as always. The numbers stand out for me. And the number 1, as I've shared with you before, has to do with alignment. It can also have to do with new beginnings, which also require a willingness to change or transform. And the number 3 is all about creation. So, it's also remembering that even though sometimes it's uncomfortable, we do a lot of change and modification, which speaks a lot to this Virgo energy that we're moving into. It's not always easy, but when we can accept that it's part of our process, it's part of our growth, it's part of our evolving, we can kind of cope with it a little bit better because, the truth is you are the one that can support any type of change or transformation that is happening in your life at this time. So let's pull a card to support us in the transformation process. And the card that came up is Rejoice in Celebration. And this reminds me of very similar to a message that came through the other day. And it's to recognize what we are in gratitude for, with whatever has changed for you this month, whatever you've been working through, going through, whatever challenges you have come up against. Give yourself a moment to acknowledge that you did get through it, or that you are actually getting through it, whether it's comfortable or not. There's still always, the little wins that we can celebrate, which also help us to allow that transformation process to occur. And again, we have the number 3, which speaks to creation. So one of the things that is coming up to say, I don't know why, but thinking about how we are creating or recreating ourselves. Are you recreating a certain aspect of your life? Are you recreating your career? Are you recreating your relationship? Are you recreating just you through your process of healing or whatever it is that you have coming up? Remember to celebrate the progress that you've made along the way. So now I'm going to pull a card for us about the overall theme of this month of September 2018. And what is interesting too is we have the equinox later this month, which is about huge transformation. And the card that I pulled is my favorite, Isis, the goddess Isis. And this card says, sexual energy is sacred. My pleasure is a prayer that brings me back to life. And she is the goddess of magic. And magic in of itself speaks very highly to transformation. The changes that you are making in your life, it all comes down to like alchemy, which is magic in of itself. You are, again, changing. You're going through cycles of rebirth. You're going through cycles of initiation, which even speaks about the energy of the equinox, which comes up again the end of this month. So with this energy, where it's talking about sexual energy being sacred, what's coming up is the sacral chakra, which I believe came up in the last reading as well. But it's really about us connecting to that point of pleasure. What does bring you pleasure, or what does drive your desire? Because whatever it is that really motivates you, but that stems from that deep seat of your passion, your desire, your drive, it will help you allow more of that transition or that transformation to occur. Sometimes we have to check in with what really does motivate and drive us. What can we celebrate about the process that we are going through? The small wins, not always looking at the obstacles, but also looking at, and acknowledging what you have actually accomplished along the way. And one of the things too that's coming up, and this will be the end of the message, is that there's often, we get what we want. We can rejoice in the celebration once we have allowed ourselves to go through the process of transformation, even if aspects of it are uncomfortable. You can do it. And remember that you have the ability and the capacity to transform. You are magical by design, like we all are. And whatever you put your mind to, whatever you seed or plant in your consciousness as possibility, you then start to plant into your reservoir of output and action. And again, you're the one that holds the key. So tune into that beautiful goddess energy. Remember the magic that is you. Remember that you are the one that can facilitate and allow and support your transformation, and to celebrate the progress and the wins along the way. So it should be an interesting month. I would love to hear what this message brings up for you, if it resonates with you, if it brings up any thoughts or ideas for yourself. And if you want more insight about the overall energy of the month, you can sign up for my newsletter at yewchi.com, which is YEWCHI.com. And you'll receive access to my Creating with the Moon and Stars, which is a free download that gives you insight about the moon phases, the moon cycles, all of the different energies specific to every month of this year. So that is my gift to you. I hope that you all have a beautiful weekend, and I'll see you soon.